All right, mate. This has been an extraordinary tasting.
It has been an epic afternoon at work here.
I know. We got a really hard job, don't we?
Yeah.
A tough job we do.
This is red hot.
Someone has to do it.
Yeah.
So we'll put our hands up. And we have one last wine in our Cult Legends wine tasting. What have we got?
Is it the cult wine in Australia? It might be.
It might be.
So,
it might be.
Sami-Odi, this is number 9 Little Wine, which is a Barossa Valley Shiraz like you've never seen, basically.
Sami-Odi. So I reckon we get more emails and phone calls every year from punters going, hello there, do you stock any Sami-Odi wines at the moment? No, they sold out 8 seconds after we released them back in February.
Yeah.
Every year.
It's almost like it's traumatizing every year to deal with the allocation. It's so small, it's so sought after.
But Fraser's so nice, you can't even get angry. It's like, okay, I'll take my 2 dozen. Thanks, Fraser.
Yeah.
You feel honoured just to get any at all because the wines are amazing. So Fraser McKinley is the owner and winemaker of Sami-Odi. Terrific guy. Fraser's a Kiwi. He studied like fine arts and design and stuff.
He does all the labels and everything himself.
Yeah. Came to Australia, went to the Barossa, fell in love with wine. And went on quite the tutelage there in the Barossa Valley. So he worked alongside Standish, with Dan Standish.
Yeah, so I might have this wrong, but I think he was assistant winemaker while Dan Standish was head winemaker at Tilbury.
Right.
I could have that wrong, but I believe that's...
And then worked with Dan. So he spent, I think, a decade or so as assistant winemaker at those iconic names. And then went and started his own thing. So he approached lots of great people in the Barossa are growers rather than just brands making wines. Yeah. The Hoffmans are one of the more iconic growing families there that grow some incredible fruit from some very, very old vineyards. So approached the Hoffman guys and was only starting out. They gave him, I think it was like 4 rows of their Dalwitz vineyard there to manage. So fruit going back to the 1880s. Yeah. They said, have a go with these few rows, see how you go. And he started to work his magic. Now, the thing about Fraser, he's such an interesting guy with his approach to wine because he's so artful with what he does, but he's such a scientist as well.
Yeah, so this is one of the most interestingly constructed wines, I think, in the entire Australian wine scene because this is a non-vintage blend or a multi-vintage blend, I guess, which you don't see very often. The Little Wine number 9 is majority picked from the 2019 vintage, but it goes all the way back to, there's portions of it, there's about 4 or 5% of it from 2015. Yeah. So the way he manages these vines and the way he handles harvest is very, very unique. So he starts his pick super, super early. We're talking about Tarascona picking Grenache really early. He's picking Barossa Shiraz at 10.5 or 11%.
I'm surprised they didn't kick him out.
Yeah, well, everyone's like, what are you doing? But there's a method to the madness because it's about finding, in those very, very early picks, is finding freshness and acid and drive. And then he picks all the way up until the fruit hits about 15% alcohol. So then he's got the really rich, dark, moody sort of base notes that the Barossa is famous for. So he gets this full spectrum and this full kaleidoscopic look at that little tiny pocket of this really old vineyard and sees it in its full spectrum over vintage.
How cool is that?
So then he takes that and then he blends portions of those barrels over multiple vintages. So what you get is not just a singular look at a singular site in a singular vintage, but you're getting a much longer view on that ancient vineyard. So you're seeing this. It's a really interesting tapestry that shows the voice of a site, not particularly just in a year, but this is what this vineyard speaks like.
I know the Hoffman Vineyard. There's a farm where it can be organically as well. I don't believe it's certified, but the organic practices. But he's obsessed over organic farming. He's a big proponent of, I know he thins out the crops and the shoots and the leaves and to try and get maximum sunlight and fruit intensity into the grapes. Because if you're picking them that early, you want to be able to make sure that the grapes have every bit of flavour they can. And what you get, it's just so incredible to taste because it feels, in one respect, so light, dances along the palate.
Yep.
But then it's just so intense at the same time.
Yeah.
And you just don't see that in the Barossa.
There's some incredible wines in the Barossa Valley, and obviously it has a reputation for a reason as being like one of our most important wine regions. But I find in a modern day context, some of those wines, as iconic as they are, they lack freshness.
Yeah.
They lack drinkability. Like they kind of like become like caricatures where they're like dusty old things that are meant to sit in old men's cellars. That is not what this wine is. The little wine is specifically built to be drunk immediately. So we've actually had this kicking around here for like 4 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And you know, occasionally if we have like something interesting like a tasting that we need to do, we'll go and grab a bottle. But for the most part, and I also get to buy some because that's what happens when you work in the wine industry.
One of the perks.
But yeah, this is it's such a fascinating creation and like a rich tapestry that he's like piecing together every year. So
what makes it special? Okay, we all know that there's these old school Barossa Shiraz. You know, we don't need to name the names. And then you got your new wave coming through, trying to make lighter, more ethereal, pretty wines. And they can be good too, but sometimes a bit fruity-tooty. This somehow does both.
Yeah.
Somehow, this is simultaneously bright and energetic and fresh, and at the same time, intense and rich and luscious.
Dude.
And it's like all things at once, all worlds collide. It's confusing.
Yeah. But
I just don't know what to even make of it.
That's a really good point because it thumps the way you want Barossa Shiraz to thump. Like it has that power.
Totally.
And that intensity.
And it's important to say that. It's not like this like modern, light, bright, like the... No. This is powerful.
This is
intense.
fucking Barossa Shiraz.
Yeah.
Like you know that as soon as you put your nose in the glass.
But the fruit feels alive.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't feel smashed with oak.
But also like that those little bits and pieces of like 2015 and 16 and 17 that he's blended in there, it adds such dimension and detail to it because you do get the benefit of that softness and that slightly more savory kind of leather couchy kind of feel that you get with aged Shiraz. And it just drinks so well, man. I'm so glad we opened that. Like can we do another video next week about this one? Another bottle?
Oh, man.
God, that's
Sami-Odi,
so cool.
So cool to taste. Wade, this has been like, what do we even say about that line of a wine, hey?
I don't know, man.
Unbelievable. We're pretty lucky.
It was so good.
It was great.
There's just, I don't know. Yeah.
Wine of the day for you? Any thoughts?
I don't know. Maybe the Rugabellis?
Oh.
Maybe? Just because it's just, I mean, there is kind of no other thing like it in Australian wine.
No.
So maybe just for uniqueness. But,
yeah.
I mean, the Timo looked unreal. This thing,
yeah.
this was unbelievable.
This is unbelievable. I think in terms of just sheer drinking pleasure, this thing is just decadent and delicious.
But then, like, the Sorenberg would probably be if I'm going to take a bottle home tonight, I probably want to take the
Sorenberg's the one that I'm tucking away for some more time. Great now, but like I just love to see that with age as well. Whereas I'd say most of the other wines we're drinking really beautifully right now. Maybe the Timo, you can make an argument for, give it some time. It's still young, but beautiful. The Yakota Barrels, I think, is just such a special wine for us. Yeah. So that is, I probably got the most, joy out of trying that.
Yeah, that was cool.
But then this just, I mean, how delicious is this? Maybe it's just the end of the tasting.
Yeah, I know. But I can't think of a Barossa Shiraz I've enjoyed more, actually. That's just... No. It's just bloody delicious, isn't it?
Bloody delicious. Well, guys, I mean, I hope you've enjoyed this. We'd love, actually, what we should get you guys to do, in the comments, what are some other unicorn wines, like Australian, but also international unicorn wines that you've tried?
Great idea. Yes, we will hunt them down.
Hunt the unicorns and destroy them.
Yes. Yeah, that's going to be a delicious afternoon as well.
Yeah, so what are your favourite unicorn wines? Any thoughts on the wines we've opened today? If you'd like to join our cult, the Different Drop cult, please subscribe. We'll invite you to our meetings.
Australia's most delicious cult. Yes.
Yeah, and subscribe to our videos. Subscribe to our mailing list because when we do get these rare parcels of wines, this is how we offer them out. We get in touch with our best customers. We put them on our emails. And it's first in, first served, and often these wines disappear in minutes. So make sure you're jumping on our mailing list to hear about all these great products. And guys, keep supporting these great small wineries, I suppose.
Yeah. This has been so good.
It's been the best. One of the best tasting, mate. Cheers again.
Cheers.
So much fun. All right. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, guys.